Hi, I'm Malcolm.
Hello, everybody. My name is Harris Pick.
Yeah, my name is Miles. I go as Miles from home.
I'm Justine Tyrell, R&B artist.
And you're listening to Background Noise, the coolest Canadian music podcast.
Thank you so much for tuning into Background Noise today. As always, I am super stoked for today's episode because I've actually been meaning to reach out to today's artist for quite some time now. We actually first heard one of her songs on, I think an episode in like season 2. It was the Major Funk episode, and she blew my mind. So she's been on my radar. She actually reached out to me after the last episode and was like, hey, can I come on the show? And I was like, yeah, absolutely. So I'm absolutely pumped to chat with Hendrika. Just like this, oh my god, her vocals are so powerful. She's out of the White Horse, Yukon, and I'm still hung up. And honestly, I'm thinking some of the best Canadian music is coming out of the Yukon right now. We've just had some great bands. So I always like to get the show started. I'll just let you, Hendrika, tell us a little bit about yourself, your journey with music, and kind of your shtick.
Yeah, absolutely. I am from the Yukon, born and raised in White Horse, and the music community up there is very vibrant, very strong, and I was very lucky to kind of be just raised by the community. And my parents were both musicians, and I was at every open mic, every coffee house, every kitchen jam growing up, often the only kid. So I spent a lot of time conversing with these professional musicians and all of these adults in the industry. And so I think it kind of lended itself to my current sound by giving me influences in kind of every direction, every genre. And so that's kind of what it was like growing up there. And I continued to develop my sound and my career. It took me a while to be ready and comfortable enough to move forward with my own project. I kind of, struggled to get past the critic for a long time. But during that period, as I was working on myself and those songs, I was in a bunch of other bands, namely Major Funk is a big project for me, and I'm still in that project, which is great. And I've been pushing pretty hard with Hendrika for the past couple of years. My music is definitely under the folk umbrella, but very influenced by, rock, classic rock for sure. I'd say a little bit of jazz, even a little bit of kind of old country. And vocally, I'm very inspired by kind of, a lot of strong vocalists like Ann Wilson. I grew up listening to a lot of classic rock, so Robert Plant's pretty up there. Jeff Buckley's a really big one for me. And
Amazing. I feel like I could definitely hear all that influence in your vocals, because even when I was listening to the songs before the show, just the one thing that came to my mind when I kept listening to like your vocals, I was like, she just has like the power of 1,000 singers. It's kind of what it sounds like. It's so just like physically powerful. It's amazing. So I'm so stoked to chat about some of these songs and play them as well.
I appreciate that. Thank you.
So the first one I want to chat about is off of your latest album, I guess it's an EP. Sometimes it's an album, sometimes it's an EP. All depends on what you feel like calling it that day, I've learned by talking to other musicians. Either way, it's called I Can't Remember. I would say front to back, it is a phenomenal set of songs, but the one song that I literally cannot play enough is You've Got Gold off that album. And you have a really awesome live off the floor video, which I can't recommend checking out enough on the YouTube. But first, why don't you just tell me a bit about that song?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, so I wrote that riff originally, that opening riff, like a very long time ago, kind of right out of music school. Was kind of, trying to take what I learned in my program as well as just try some new things. Yeah, it's pretty riff based, and it was a struggle actually to find a melody to weave between all of those notes that I was playing on guitar. So it took me a while. I sat on that riff for maybe like a couple of years, I think, and I just couldn't really get there with it. And then eventually, I was in this kind of like situationship with this really lovely person, and it was kind of one of those things where I realized maybe I was kind of falling a little harder than I was supposed to. And so that's kind of where the inspiration came for the song. At the time, I was just doing a lot of reading and trying to inspire myself by reading, books from different authors. And I think I had just read a Joseph Boyden novel, and I was very inspired by the way that he uses language. And so I was kind of in a very poetic mindset. I just wrote this tune. And then, so I kind of structured it. So it definitely has some jazz influence, but the harmony itself is pretty straightforward, which I think makes it pretty accessible. And I have heard, like, from most folks, that's their favorite song on the album. And I'm currently trying to do some more writing right now. And so I'm kind of analyzing it and trying to see, I'm like, why do I, because it's also my favorite. I'm like, why do I like this so much? Why do others like this so much? And how can I move forward in this direction? So in the end, it was very much just like, I wanted a big anthemic ending. And I love that. I love like a big kind of rock, like 1 to the 4 chord anthem ending. So I went for that. And I tried to find a word and a feeling that really encapsulated the whole piece and to kind of really drive the message home. So
Absolutely beautiful. Now, before we spin that song, why don't you just tell me a little bit about the EP as a whole?
It's an interesting EP because it's kind of songs. Most of them are very, very recent, but there's 1 or 2 that are kind of older that I've sat with for a long time and haven't been sure whether I wanted to release them or not. So I recorded it with Jordy Walker of Stackwell Sound Productions up in the Yukon. We have a lot of great engineers and studios up there, and Jordy is definitely one of them. And he was also very involved as a producer, and it was such a pleasure working with him. He's so great at kind of the soundscapey ambient aspect. And I can be like a little, sometimes I feel like I see things more arrangement wise or more like harmonically, and I get kind of stuck in the harmony side of things. And so Jordy really balanced that out for me, and it was such a great experience. It was great. We have Tara Martin on drums, and Aiden Tentry's on bass, and then Jordy plays bass on a couple tunes as well. And then I played all the other instruments, which was fun. It was nice to collaborate with those guys. Tara's been my drummer for about 5 or 6 years now. She's just fantastic. She's a great friend and has been a really important person in my life, musically and otherwise. And I'm very grateful for her work. So the album is kind of a culmination of just, it's something that I've been working on for a long time, and that it feels like the right time to release it. And one of the songs, like Reel Me In, I wrote when I was about 19. So that's the one that had the longest, like that I wrote the longest ago. And the rest of them were pretty recent. It kind of spans a lot of different eras of my life. I feel like it tells my story pretty well.
Amazing. Well, I'm really glad you mentioned Reel Me In, because that was one of the songs that I want to talk about. But we'll talk about it in a few minutes after we spin You've Got Gold.
Background Noise is brought to you by Easy Noise, Alberta's newest booking service for independent musicians and venues. Check them out on Instagram at EZNOIZE. Get connected and make some noise. Now back to the show.
We are back. Thank you so much for tuning into Background Noise today. I am so pumped for today's episode because we're chatting with Hendrika, just like this epically powerful vocalist out of the Yukon. She just dropped an EP not that long ago, 2024, called I Can't Remember, and we just listened to, I think it's all of our favorite songs off the album. You've Got Gold, but another of the ones that I think I have like in 3 of my playlists now on Spotify is Reel Me In, and you mentioned a little bit earlier that this was a song that you've sat on for the longest time. Why don't you tell me a little bit more about Reel Me In?
Yeah, I did sit on it for a long time, and I just kind of like I mentioned, I was in my earlier years kind of letting the critic take over a bit and struggling to kind of work through that. And this song was one that I just didn't feel that connection to. I didn't feel comfortable with it. And I started playing it live and got a good reaction from people. And so I kind of started to maybe consider releasing it. And it's so interesting because now I really enjoy the song and I enjoy playing it. But it's interesting how your perspective shifts too, just as you get older and you become more grounded and more centered generally. And yeah, it's kind of given me a new way to look at my music, and it has softened that critic a lot as I've gotten a little older. So yeah, I'm pretty happy with this one, and it's so fun. I grew up listening to classic rock pretty exclusively as a teenager. I was very obsessed with Led Zeppelin, Stevie Ray Vaughan, Jimi Hendrix, and all the classics. So that song very much kind of sheds a light on that side of my influence. And as far as what it's about, the content, it is kind of about being a young woman in the music industry at that time, especially growing up in a small town and being one of the only kind of female guitar players who was playing, especially in the classic rock vein. I was playing music with a lot of like older guys, and it was mostly just, I was the young one and I was the young woman as well. And so I got, kind of hit on and preyed upon by a lot of older men. And it's something that a lot of young people generally, regardless of their, gender, have to deal with. So, I wrote this song when I was particularly in reference to this one guy that I was just really kind of over and angry at, and just one of those people that wouldn't take the hint and thinks that it's okay to hit on young girls. And so I got a little fed up and I wrote this song about it.
Nothing like a good angsty song. I love it. Another one of the songs I want to talk about is another one of your older singles. This one is Love We Learn, I think from 2022. Why don't you tell me a bit about that song?
Yeah, this one you can kind of really hear the Buckley influence, I think. Especially in the end there, it feels very kind of Jeff Buckley-esque. And yeah, I wrote this one right after a very difficult relationship where I kind of lost myself in the other person. They had a lot of trauma through, no fault of their own. And it's one of those people that has been through so much in their life, and, things just keep hitting them and it's so unfair. I found myself kind of lost in wanting to give as much as I possibly could to keep them afloat. And it ended up being just a very unhealthy relationship, and this person really, really struggled. Yeah, I finally found the courage to end it. I'm very glad I did. And this song was written kind of looking back on that and reflecting on how not everyone learns how to love properly or the same way, and how we can lose ourselves in someone else's kind of journey.
It happens. It's a hard lesson to learn, but an important one to learn nonetheless. We're going to spin both those songs, Reel Me In and Love We Learn, just a couple seconds here. And then when we come back, you sent me some songs from some amazing artists that we'll spin and chat about in a couple minutes here. One of which, this is going to be the artist's 3rd time being recommended on this show, and I've reached out to them. So if they're listening, and we'll call them out in a couple minutes here, I really need you to answer that DM or DM me back, because they're a hot item and they need to come on the show. But we'll find out who that is in just a couple minutes.
say you're sorry, baby, when it's not your fault. All these soul loves down, they weigh me. In your life I'm lost. When you reach out to me, I would give up the world to take the pain away, to give you just a single day of love you never loved, of the love you never loved. I say I'm sorry, baby. What else can I do when you're sinking down before me? Love is overdue. When you cry out to me, you would give up your world just to take the pain away, to give yourself a single day of love you never loved, of the love you never loved. You're missing from me the space where you were and where you could be. You're missing from me, but I couldn't seem to see reality. You're missing from me the space where you were, where you could be. You're missing from me, but I couldn't seem to see reality. But I couldn't seem to see reality.
Background Noise is brought to you by Easy Noise, Alberta's newest booking service for independent musicians and venues. Check them out on Instagram at EZNOIZE. Get connected and make some noise. Now back to the show.
We are back. Thank you so much for tuning into Background Noise today. We're chatting with Hendrika, just an amazing musician out of the Yukon. I'm still hung up that I think some of the best Canadian content is coming out of the Yukon. And my theory is because it's so cold and so wintry. You guys have so much time to practice.
Yeah, absolutely. I think it's also like you said, that when it's cold and dark and there isn't a lot to do, I think those places you can often find the most vibrant artistic community or just the most community connection in general. Growing up, I was so lucky to have that, Like I kind of said earlier, I was really raised by the community, and I don't know if I would have gotten that anywhere else. And it's also the connection to nature. Like I can walk out my back door and be in the middle of nowhere in like 2 seconds. It's pretty great. I would recommend it. And having that connection to the quiet and the calm and just the world around you is like, it's so inspiring. And I think it's very grounding, and I think it does kind of cultivate the artistic, spirit in people.
Beautiful. I love that. So you sent me a handful of musicians here, and we'll chat about them. But one of them has been a suggestion. This is going to be their third time being played on background noise without being on background noise officially, and that is Wyatt C. Lewis.
I knew it.
Yeah, he knew it immediately. They are up and coming like no other. Any other indie musician is like this one. This one's amazing. And they truly are. Every time I've listened to a Wyatt C. Lewis song, I'm like, damn, this is a good song. So we're going to spin Wild, which I don't think has been a recommendation yet. Why don't you tell me about Wyatt C. Lewis?
Oh man, I can't remember the first time I heard them. I think it might have just been a Spotify suggestion possibly, which I really lucked out on, because this album, it doesn't happen to me very often where I hear an album that I'm like, holy, I love this. Like I will listen to this for days on end. That almost never happens to me. So it was a pretty big deal for me to find this album that I was just stunned by. I mean, the production is incredible alone. Like the clarinet section, love that. I love that like clarinets are finding their way into like modern indie music. It's really cool. This song specifically, it has these beautiful kind of orchestral swells that come in and out, and it's like, oh, it's just the arranging is so good. And of course Wyatt has this incredible voice, and the tone is just, it's so smooth. It sounds so effortless. And their runs are like beautiful. Just the way that they shape their melodies. I just love it.
Absolutely. I couldn't agree more. I think I've said it on the previous shows where they're just such a wonderful like capturer of the moment. Like you can listen to the songs, you can close your eyes, and like you feel the story they're trying to tell you, and it's absolutely beautiful. So I'm super stoked that's going to be the third one on here. Like I said, Wyatt, if you're listening, if you hear this, please, 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 please either answer the DM or shoot me an email, because I really need you on the show. This is the third time you've been recommended. People want to hear from you. Another one that you sent me, that this was also kind of ironic that you sent me a Mallory Chipman song, because she's doing a show here in Edmonton that's all like bird themed, which is really cool. And I've actually been meaning to reach out to her because through a connection with Biggie Radio, they were like, hey, she's coming, you should get her on the show. She does some really cool music. And then again, I just got super busy. I kind of forgot for a while. But then you sent me one of these songs. I was like, this is a reminder. I really got to reach out to Mallory, because the album, I think, is it Songs for the Old God or Songs for the Wild God or something like that? From front to back, this album is absolutely magical. Absolutely magical. We're going to play Mythic Time off of it. But why don't you tell me a little bit about Mallory?
Yeah, absolutely. I had the pleasure of meeting Mallory at Breakout West this past year. She played right before me at one of our showcases, and I was just so blown away by her voice and her songwriting. And we chat a little bit afterwards, and followed each other on the internet and whatever, went our separate ways. And then I'm actually currently in Calgary. I don't know if I told you that, but I'm currently in Alberta, and I reached out a couple months ago because I was coming down here to do some writing with my guitarist, Brandon, who lives here. Yeah, I reached out to her, and I was like, it'd be great to book some shows together, or just do some writing, or, whatever, just hang out even. And she's just such a like driven, incredible, like connected person. And she was just immediately like, let's go. So she helped to book a few shows, and she connected me to Bailey Kate from Lethbridge. And we did kind of a string of small shows kind of in different cities in Alberta. We're doing a few more this weekend coming up. Yeah, it's been fantastic. And just watching her play these songs live was a whole nother experience. If you ever get the chance to see her live, like that's the ticket. It's her band is incredible, and just the balance and the harmonies and like the instrumentation choices even like, and this song in particular, like my jaw was on the floor the first time I heard them do it. I was just so impressed. And she has this way of kind of melding genres that's really impressive to me. And you can hear in her voice, it's very kind of country and folk influenced, and like in a lot of the harmonic choices as well. But then like she has these killer like hook choruses that are just like so powerful. And I'm also very impressed with how she incorporates really interesting harmony into kind of like pop music. And yeah, just stunning musician all around. Yeah, really great.
I couldn't agree more. So I'm really stoked to spin one of her songs. And the third one we're going to spin in this bunch here that you sent me was Everything in Between by Billy ZZ. Why don't you tell me a bit about that one?
Yeah, I also met Billy at Breakout West actually this past year, and she's from Edmonton. Yeah, so all these artists are Alberta artists. It's just kind of by coincidence, just happens to be who I'm really interested in right now. Yeah, Billy is a beautiful songwriter. And again, similar to Mallory in this way, is that she has this way of mixing genres together that is very seamless. Yeah, there's something about Billy, like her songs, they have an old country kind of feel, some of them, and the way that she structures her melodies and her lyrics are kind of very much a storyteller and very beautiful words. And then I love that her instrumentation and her indie vibe is, yeah, very kind of like modern indie music, almost like psychedelic, some of it, and also pop. And it's funny, I was listening to her earlier and her voice almost reminds me of like kind of like early 2000s singer-songwriters in a really cool way. So it's kind of just like a bunch of melding of worlds that is great, and her band is fantastic. Yeah, she's also someone who went to music school as well and makes very interesting but still very accessible harmony choices, which I think is key.
Absolutely. She was stellar, and I was listening to a bunch of her songs before the show here. Another one that I was really into, we won't play it in today's show, but I highly recommend it checking out, was Gas Station Couture. Hilarious. There was something just about that, the concept of Gas Station Couture, I thought was hilarious. But we're going to spin this handful of songs here. We got Wild from Wyatt C. Lewis. Note, Wyatt C. Lewis, if you're listening, please message me so you can come on the show. We got Mallory Chipman with Mythic Time, and then we'll do Billy ZZ's Everything in Between. And then when we come back, I kind of want to talk about Major Funk just a little bit.
Waiting to get caught up to her, she asked me how I found out so soon. It took only 1 week till this all felt like fate. Get on by, stay high to the sea. Rolling on. Turn on the radio to get you to narrow. Laid in bed to soak this home. Wild side, they say, define your life, they may. Take me as I am, take me. Rolling down the bend, rolling down the bend. Take me as I am, rolling down the bend. years old. I could tell that much when I caught my reflection in a glimmer of Russian marble. Veins intertwined, waiting thin like frayed lifelines of a story forgotten on the lips of my unmet babka. Oh, where are my breadcrumbs? I cannot find them. Where are your footsteps to lead me back, grasping at echoes of hand-me-down memories? Oh, sing me to sleep and keep the beat in mythic time. Oh, in mythic time. Graves may endure, but the rest fade and insecure fragments past mouth to ears and kitchen moments of bedtime stories. Myths, superstitions, I laugh, never like tradition, but it's here in translation that I start to believe in magic. Oh, where are my breadcrumbs? I cannot find them. Where are your footsteps to lead me back, grasping at echoes of hand-me-down memories? Oh, sing me to sleep and keep the beat in mythic time. Oh, in mythic time. Who would have guessed that this mortar and pestle would fit to my head like it was here, waiting for me, and my father and his here before us. An heirloom without a home. Where are my breadcrumbs? I cannot find them. Where are your footsteps to lead me back, grasping at echoes of hand-me-down memories? Oh, sing me to sleep and keep the beat, just keep the beat. Where are my breadcrumbs? I cannot find them. Where are your footsteps to lead me back, grasping at echoes of hand-me-down memories? Oh, sing me to sleep in mythic time. Oh, in mythic
Your visions, your forgiveness, the songs you can't finish. Sinking hope, the vows you said, a dethroned prince in an unmade bed, the ghost of your success. Dining on your loneliness, the fantasy, the quick fix. The moment your heart flipped. But didn't you love him like you said you would? Didn't you give him the best that you could? And when you let go, it was after trying everything falling sky, the quick divide, where you wish you could change your mind, the exquisite, the profane, everything in between. Didn't you love him like you said you would? Didn't you give him the best that you could, and when you let go, it was after trying everything. The lifting shame, the parting veil, the brand new sun on your wedding band, the weight slides off your hand like he never was your man. The victory and the screaming doom, ghost of love leaves the room. Seeds of hope and the seeds of rot, spinning wheels in the open road. Didn't you love him like you said you would? Didn't you give him the best that you could, and when you let go, it was after trying everything.
Background Noise is brought to you by Easy Noise, Alberta's newest booking service for independent musicians and venues. Check them out on Instagram at EZNOIZE. Get connected and make some noise. Now back to the show.
We are back. Thank you so much for tuning into Background Noise today. We just listened to a handful of amazing artists that Hendrika suggested here, and a few of them we've already heard. And I'm going to have to try to get them on the show. Same with Mallory as well, too. Absolutely amazing. But we actually first heard a Hendrika song way back in the Major Funk episode. We heard your song, All Right, the 2023 single. Why don't you tell me a bit about that song? Because that was a song we played in the episode, but didn't get a lot of context.
Oh, sure. Yeah. Let's see. Yeah, I wrote that song a while ago. I was probably about 23, maybe 24 when I wrote that song. And yeah, it's I really wrote it at a time where I was feeling pretty like grounded, and I was kind of reflecting on a time when I wasn't feeling that way. And I wanted to kind of just write a piece that was almost satirical. I was kind of just like, man, like, come on, you know? One of those moments, as well as just honestly an anthem for anyone who struggles with mental health. You know, sometimes you look back and, you know, you realize how you get lost in it and how far your brain can take you in the wrong kind of headspace, in the wrong direction. This song, I'm hoping, just kind of offers a look at that and a way to kind of recenter and just be like, everything's going to be okay. Like, let's zoom out here and just take a minute to calm down.
Amazing. And as many of our listeners know, all about sharing the love. So I do want to also spin a Major Funk song. And this one, I think this one might be my favorite Major Funk song. I have it in multiple playlists. I can't get enough of it. It's Interstitial. Why don't you tell me about that song?
Yeah, I really like this song as well. Our other vocalist, Adrian, actually wrote this one. But yeah, it's, you know, about the spaces in between and feeling like wanting to take that next step in kind of like a romantic relationship. Yeah, and I like this song, honestly. I think it's a really cool direction for Major Funk to go in. This very kind of like pop and a little more soul R&B. And I really quite enjoyed putting it together. I really enjoyed like writing the synth parts and layering those harmonies. And yeah, it's got a really cool vibe to it.
Yeah, it really does. It is also, for some context as well, too, it's off of the album or EP, The In Between, which as a whole, amazing set of work. But like this song, I think, is one of those few songs that I can like put on repeat and just listen to like continuously and just jam even harder every single time. We're going to spin both of those songs right away here. All right, Hendrika's 2023 single, which we played on the Major Funk episode way back when, but then we're also going to spin Interstitial from Major Funk. And then when we come back, unfortunately, do have to wind down the show a little bit, but there is one more song I want to chat about.
Sift the pain out of my voice and tuck it in tight now. Said I'm alone by choice. It don't bother me now. Myself can't feel selfish. I'm all wrapped up again now. Sometimes when I feel worthless, life's just a mystery. Okay, it's alright. It's alright. Today was gonna be a good day, but that's fine. It's my anxiety's a mess. Lost in the fog in my head now. At least I'm not depressed. Oh wait, there it is now. I'm sitting here with my privilege. I'm thinking about my mistakes now. I'm not even personal image. I guess that's the way that I am now. Okay, it's alright. It's alright. Today was gonna be a good day, but that's fine. It's
Oh, you feel you're in the middle of what you thought right, and what they said was wrong, but gets you feeling like you're through with being superficial. You know that it's time to go and decide how you want to live your life. it's been a long while. We're getting tired, no, it's starting to feel right. It's time to tell the truth of what you see down the line. Is there life, and do you think we have a shot? Oh, do you think we have a shot? Find out. I've been thinking how to say the words, but they don't sound right. I'ma give it a shot, cause I just gotta find out. Can you feel it just a little? The love that we found, a love that lifts you off the ground and all around. Or do you feel you're in the middle of what you thought right? And what they said was wrong, but gets you feeling like you're through with being superficial. You know that it's time to go and decide how you want to live your life. You see it all as interstitial. Looking between lines is the place where we find love that makes us feel alive. Gotta know it's a fine line. It's getting pretty late, so say it to me right now. Say it loud, because we're dying to find out. Can you feel it just a little? The love that we found, a love that lifts you off the ground and all around. Or do you feel you're in the middle of what you thought right? And what they said was wrong, but gets you feeling like you're through with being superficial. You know that it's time to go and decide how you want to live your life. You see it all as interstitial. Looking between lines is the place where we find love that makes us feel alive.
Background Noise is brought to you by Easy Noise, Alberta's newest booking service for independent musicians and venues. Check them out on Instagram at EZNOIZE. Get connected and make some noise. Now back to the show.
We are back. Thank you so much for tuning into Background Noise today. I hope you enjoyed the episode as much as I did. We were chatting with Hendrika, just an absolutely phenomenal genre-bending musician out of the Yukon. As I described it earlier, like I feel like her vocals feel like 1,000 people singing at once when I know it's just like one person, but it's powerful and it's epic and it's awesome. So I was really stoked to chat with her today. The final song I want to chat about, another one of your older singles, Alder, but you have a really cool music video to it. We'll chat about that in a sec. But first, why don't you tell me about the song?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, the music video, just real quick. It was so much fun. We filmed it in a canoe on Schwaka Lake in the Yukon. It was like 8 a.m. We really lucked out that when we drove up to the lake, this fog had just settled on the water. And so we got these beautiful shots of the sun just streaming through the fog as my friend chauffeured me around in this canoe while I played guitar. It was very, very fun. Yeah. So this song, it's also one of my favorites. It's one that it often takes me a very long time to write songs. Kind of like I mentioned with You've Got Gold. It takes me a long time to put the parts together and to be kind of confident enough and happy enough with it to put it out into the world. And Alder was one that I wrote when I was in a very kind of emotional headspace. And it came out very quickly, like kind of as is. I hardly changed anything. It was just, I think I was in such a place of kind of shock and grief that almost those parts of me, like the critic and the parts that stopped me from creating, couldn't even be there because this other thing was so much in the way. It almost like I was at such an intense place emotionally that I think it almost like pushed aside all of those mental blocks and just kind of released this song. Yeah, and I wrote it for my dad. He lived in Port Hardy on Vancouver Island for a long time. And yeah, the First Nations people in Port Hardy have a saying to follow the alder home. And it's when like a logging road or something of the sort gets abandoned, the first tree to pop up is an alder, and it leaves this kind of bright green streak through the bush. And if you follow it, it'll take you back to the main road. And that's kind of where the saying comes from. So that's kind of where the saying came from. And the song is about my dad and about my relationship to my dad and just kind of an ode to him and a way to honor him.
Beautiful. Now that song's even more beautiful that we have context to it in the back. I love that. We're going to spin that right away here and end the episode. But before we do, is there anything else we should be keeping an ear out from you as well?
I will be releasing a live video for Reel Me In. I haven't set a date yet, but it'll be coming out in the next couple months, which is very exciting. And right now I'm just in full writing mode. So I'm pretty excited to see where that goes. And I really hope to be releasing another album in the next year or so. Yeah. And this summer, I'll be doing a fair amount of touring. So, you can check out the tour dates and come to a show mostly. And I'll actually be all across Canada. So, come check it out.
Amazing. I can't wait. Thank you again so much for coming on the show. It was so great to chat with you. This is Alder from Hendrika.
River runs, but I stay where I am. I don't know why. With the smoke, I am one with the fire in the sky. All of this time I've been losing control sorrow and the love that it stole. But I have learned to be the light when your sunrise is just out of sight.
If you follow, follow the alder home. Let me in, take me back to the years when you were young, to watch the world spin and hear the indigo endearment slip from their tongues. As he flies, raven, come to my window, tap on my pane and look me in the eye. I've been so lost in grieving tomorrow, forgot I'm made to learn how to fly. Follow the alder home, follow their kin down your long winding road. There's a place for all of us, you'll never walk alone. If you follow, follow the alder home. If you follow, follow the alder home. If you follow, follow the alder home.
Well, that's all I got for today, folks. Thanks so much for tuning into Background Noise. I had a blast. And hey, you know what? If you're a Canadian musician as well and you're thinking, I want to be on the show, just click the link in our Instagram bio at Background Noise the Show and we'll try to set something up.